Yes, good day, classy. Good day, Great Cove Life Science students. Congratulations for those who have managed to write their preparatory exams and those who are yet to write. Let's revise together right now with the latest one, Free State Province, 12 September 2025. I'm sure you know very well that these preparatory exams, they give us a reflection of our final examination that we are going to write. And without wasting any time, don't forget that we are revising paper 1 Free State, written 12 September, written 12 September 2025. As we can see, this is paper 1. This is paper 1, grade 12, and 2025 paper. Anyway, you know that paper, the marks and time allocation, we are quite aware about that. So let's just go through instructions. I'm sure grade 12 learners, I can't read through the instructions with you. But anyway, you know the instructions are always to be read before answering any questions. Do always understand that you follow instructions as they are given. So we go to section A. Section A is Section A. We are given that options are multiple choice questions. Which one of the following may function as an effector? I'm sure I remember. You remember the structure of this human response to the environment. We talk about the nervous system. The part of the which of the following may function as an effector. Remember that the effector organ, it can be a gland or it can be a muscle. Remember that the effector organs are there to complete. What do they do? They are there to ensure that we have got a response to a stimulus. They provide a response to a stimulus, to a stimulus, of what in a in the in a reflex pathway. So now what happens is that we are supposed to understand that we have got the receptor which starts from the start of this neural pathway. The receptor, we go into the sensory. We have the sensory. We go through the connector. We go through inside the spinal cord. Inside the spinal cord, we have got a synapse that comes in there, which also we are having a synapse there, a synapse there. We have the motor, and then we are going the motor neuron. It goes where it is going to attach itself to the what? To the effector organ, which we can say that the effector organ, it is the what? The effector, which you must understand that it is the what? It is the muscle. It can be a muscle or it can be a gland, like we just said now. That's how you need to understand this. So we are supposed to understand the what? The reflex egg. We are supposed to understand the neural pathway, which you need to know that from the beginning we have the receptor, which is subjected to the stimulus. It receives the stimulus, and then we have the pathway continuously running, as we can name it. And then we are supposed to understand that without wasting any time. So our answer is what? Our answer is A. It is the muscle, the reproductive strategy where the embryo develops inside the uterus and is born alive. You know what happens is that we need to understand. We are supposed to understand and relate the diversity of reproductive strategies. We need to understand the diversity of reproductive strategies that we need to know. So we have got the ovipary. Ovipary. What is ovipary? Ovipary, in other ways, you need to understand these different forms of reproductive strategies. So the ovipary is a form of reproductive strategy which also takes place in which eggs are laid and develop, and the development of these eggs takes place outside the mother's body. So these eggs may have been fertilized internally before what? Before they are laid. However, what needs to happen is that they may be fertilized after they are laid, and then each egg eventually hatches into a young animal. So what happens is that it is most common also in vertebrates. We can talk about snakes and many other vertebrates that we can talk about, such as frogs. So we are saying it is not the correct answer. We have got the vivipary. The vivipary, I'm sure that I was saying to my class last time, and also if you can refer to the YouTube channel videos, the vivipary is the easiest one of them because it forms an example in terms of it is actually that form of reproductive strategy that is also for what, for mammals, which we also say humans fall in. So in terms of the vivipary, you are supposed to understand that this is a reproductive strategy which is actually for people, whereby we talk about the fertilization taking place inside there is internal fertilization, and also the young one develop inside the uterus of the mother after the fertilization has taken place. So there is a nourishment of the young one which takes place from the mother's blood through the what, through the placenta. So now where the embryo develops inside the uterus and then is born alive, we can actually understand and relate that we need to know that this is the vivipary. It is vivipary, which is the correct answer. Obviously, the last one is the, or what you call ovovivipary, is that form of reproductive strategy in which young ones develop from they develop from the eggs that are fertilized internally and retained within the mother's body after fertilization, but but obtain their what, their nutrition from the egg yolk and not from the mother what, not from their mother. So what you need to understand is this: it also gives rise to the development of the amniotic egg. It is the one that gives rise to the development of the amniotic egg, which we are saying that the young one, they develop inside the egg, but being nourished through, there is nourishment through the what, through the yolk. There is nourishment through the yolk. There is nourishment through the placenta, which also we need to understand that there is a umbilical cord. So in other ways, we are just doing comprehensive what to call revision. So our answer is B. And then amniotic egg is not a form of a reproductive strategy. It is actually in amniotic egg. It's actually a characteristic that we find mostly in reptiles and birds, which we need to understand that this amniotic egg, it actually develops having some four membranes. Actually, check on this channel for more details. Question number 3: an eye defect caused by the eyeball being too short. Where the eyeball is too short, it is what is this eye defect? We are also saying refer to channel. There is also enough content on visual defect. So when the eyeball is too short, it results in what? It results in long-sightedness. It results in long-sightedness. I have got an illustration which is also well described in there. Cataracts, we talk about something which has got to do with the clouding of the eye. Astigmatism, it has to do with the unevenness of the cornea, which also we can talk about something else. So we are saying the answer is what is long-sightedness. Question number 4: the following occurs during the the pupillary mechanism in the eye, in the iris. So what you need to understand is that this is one of the questions again, which we are referring to say that you need to look and refer to the channel also. Check also to the channel. There is enough content there. So pupillary mechanism, it is controlled by situations where we have the circular muscles, they contract. The circular muscles must contract, which I'm saying, if you refer to the channel, we have got enough content which explains these processes. So what I'm saying is that the circular muscles must contract. That is one key characteristic that also occurs during the pupillary mechanism. And also there is also the radial muscles must relax. The radial muscles must relax. So I had also given this that I've even labeled them because sometimes you find questions which you are asked to identify the radial and the circular muscles. So now, and also what is happening when these adjustments or mechanisms are taking place, they are also explained in our on our channel. So now, what we are saying is that it has to be a combination of 1 and 4, which is what? Which is A. A contains combination actually gives the right answer when a person enters where there is bright light. So we have to talk about mechanisms which has to do with reducing the amount of light that is entering the eye. So these adjustments must be there. Uh, you see, so those adjustments must okay. Excuse me. We have got question 5, I'm just seeing that it is also cut from here, but anyway, we'll edit it and we'll look at it and then we work it together now. Just don't worry. It's just cut from this thing. So is question 1.2, give the biological terms for each of the following descriptions. Write only the term next to the question number. The biological terms for each of the following interactions. Uh, an interaction between two hormones in which the hormones are stimulated or inhibited. We are saying give the biological terms for the following. Uh, give the biological terms for the following terms or descriptions. Sorry. So an interaction between two hormones in which hormones are stimulated or inhibited to restore balance. What do we call that? This is a negative feedback mechanism or a negative feedback loop. So it is called what? Negative feedback. Negative feedback. Where we are saying there is stimulation or there is inhibition of another hormone. So this happens in order to control or to bring back systems and internal process to their what to their normal levels. Again, that's one thing that you should understand. And then glands that release their secretions via ducts into a blood cavity or the exterior glands. We are talking about those glands that secrete hormones. Uh, they secrete their secretions via ducts, so they are carried through tubes. We are saying through tubes. They are carried through tubes or the exterior. So now, what we call that, we have got endocrine and exocrine. So those which carry the hormones through tubes or ducts, they are called exocrine. They are called exocrine glands. They are called exocrine glands. And then the constriction of blood vessels near the skin surface, which decreases blood flow. This actually happens in thermoregulation. So what happens is like we are talking about the control of which the control of levels through which blood can flow, whether deep inside the skin or on the surface of the skin. So constriction, it is the vasoconstriction, the blood vessels, they become so small. So what happens is that this is called vasoconstriction. Vaso, it's called vasoconstriction. Vasoconstriction happens in order to reduce the flow of blood near the surface of the skin or near the skin surface, and then it is actually to increase. It occurs in order to increase. It can increase or maintain body temperature. Maintain temperature. It takes place in order to increase or maintain the temperature of the body. So it is called vasoconstriction. The microscopic gap between two consecutive neurons. I was just illustrating it on question 1 that neurons, they've got microscopic gap between them. It's called the synaptic gap. It's called the synapse. It's called the synapse. It is the microscopic gap between adjacent neurons or consecutive neurons. Neurons do not touch end to end, but what happens is that they have got a small gap that occurs between them. There is a microscopic gap that occurs between neurons. So this gap is what you call the synapse, which we also want to understand the functions as we go in detail with the question paper anyway, uh, speeding the speed of impulses and ensuring the direction of the impulses, the unilateral direction of the impulses. The period from fertilization to birth in humans, we call that pregnancy. It's called pregnancy or gestation period. From the day fertilization occurs, we call gestation period. From fertilization to birth, we call that pregnancy or gestation period. And then the site of fertilization in the female reproductive system. Where do fertilization occur in reproductive system? It occurs in the fallopian tube. Fallopian tubes is where fertilization occur. Fallopian tubes is where fertilization occur in humans, in female. It occurs in the female reproductive system anyway. And then a tropic movement of plant towards gravity. When plants move, movement of plants towards gravity, we call that positive geotropism. It is called positive geotropism. It is called positive geotropism, which I'm saying that why do we say positive? Because the roots are inclined and are designed to move towards the force of gravity. So the movement, the tendency and ability of the plant part to move towards a certain stimulus, we call that positive when it moves towards the stimulus. But then if it moves away, we call that negative, negative tropism. So this is a movement of a plant towards gravity. We call that a positive tropism. And then the process when the endometrium tears away from the uterine wall, accompanied by the loss of blood, we call that menstruation. I'm sure we remember menstruation. Menstruation, the monthly hormonal period, which results in loss of blood and because of the tearing away of the endometrium as a result of absence of fertilization or pregnancy. And then it's called what? Menstruation. A hollow ball of cells uh, into which the fertilized ovum develops. This question is quite common. I'm sure that you can refer to it quite a lot. Same questions in long questions. It comes where you are asked to explain the stages of development from fertilization to implantation. So what we are saying is that the ovum develops into a what? Into a blastocyte. It develops into a blastocyte. So that is these are the questions, the short questions, the definition of terms. Let's go to question next. It is both none, A, B alone, or whatsoever. So we are saying section A class, it is always very important that you get total marks there in order for you to boost. So 1.3.1 produces an alkaline fluid which neutralizes the acid in the vagina. We are talking about the male reproductive system. Which gland is responsible for the secretion of alkaline fluid that neutralizes the acidity in the vagina in terms of the survival of the sperm cell? It is the seminal vascle. The seminal vascle releases the alkaline, it neutralizes the secretions that are released there, ensures the survival of the sperm cell from the acidic conditions that are in the vagina, stores stores waste product in the amniotic egg. What party stores the waste product? The aliontos. The yolk, actually, it is there for what? For feeding. It is there for feeding. It provides the nutrition. It actually, the yolk provides nutrition. It actually ensures the growth of the what? Of the developing chick inside the egg. So A is the correct answer. Plant defense mechanism by using thorns. When plants use thorns, we have got different forms of defense mechanisms, chemical, mechanical, or we are saying these methods are all different. But now, when we talk about the thorns, it is a what? It is a mechanical or a physical defense mechanism. Mechanical or physical. Chemical, it has got to do with the secretions of some stick substances. It might be also as a result of release of some bad odor or smell that also causes browsers or grazers not to feed on what? On the plants or on vegetation. The flow diagram represents part of the human ear that maintains balance, part of the human ear that maintains balance. So here now, what we need to understand is that we are to understand the human ear. That I want you to also refer to the channel in further question. I mean further explanations. Human ear. Please check also on our channel. It is actually well explained and well articulated too. So we have got the stimulus, change in direction and speed of the head, the crest, we have got the location of the receptor, and then we have got the nerve impulse. We have got a change in position of the head, which result in the circulars and the articulars responding and sending a nerve impulse, and then the nerve impulse is sent to Y, and we have got the skeletal muscles, therefore to the effector, also the control center, which is Y. So now, what is asked, let's just quickly go to the question here. Let's just quickly just look at the diagram properly. Just check here, part A in the ear, part B in the ear, and then what we need to understand is identify the receptor V, identify the uh, receptor V, V, we are saying change in the head, change in position of the head, and therefore this actually results in the sending of impulses to the circulars and articulars. So it actually represents, we need to understand the relationship of the receptor with V in terms of the change in direction of the head and the circulars. So now what you need to know is that it is the macula that is responsible. The macula are sensory receptors these are sensory receptors again that are located within the utricle and the circular that detect linear acceleration and changes in the position of the head relative to what? To gravity. That is what you need to understand to say when the head changes position in relation to the gravity, it is actually, there are actually some what we call, we need to understand that the macula is actually the one that is having the sensory receptors that actually detect the acceleration as in terms of the speed or in terms of the change in speed in regard to the position of the head from gravity. So V is the macula, or they can say maculae. And then question next is saying the location of receptor W, the location of receptor W, we have got change in direction and speed of the head, and then the receptor, the crest, and then location, and then W. Where is W located? It is located in the what? It is located uh, in the phase 2. Let me just write the answer. Location. So we are saying the location is the what? It is the vestibule, which we are saying it indicates the circulars and the articulars which are located at W. The circular and the articular are found within the vestibule of the inner ear, which actually identifies that this we are saying in the inner ear, which is actually we are saying the vesti. It is the vestibule, which we are saying it is within the inner ear. So now what we need to understand is control center Y. Control center Y. Obviously, we are talking about which part of the brain that receives the nerve impulses in relation to balance and actually to control in order to control coordinating movement and maintaining body posture. So it is the what? Y represents the cerebellum. Y represents the cerebellum. We are saying it actually receives nerve impulses related to balance and sends signals to the effector skeletal muscles. Actually, the cerebellum, it is the primary center, ne? It is the primary center in the brain that is responsible for coordinating movement and maintaining posture and balance. It regulates posture. It actually regulates we are saying it regulates balance. Let me just say it regulates balance. It regulates balance. That's one thing that you need to understand. It maintains also maintaining posture. It is the cerebellum. It actually coordinating movement. Coordinating movements. So we are saying it is the cerebellum that is responsible for that. And then you can be able to master and get all your marks as it is always supposed to be. So 1.5, it is the diagram that represents the human brain. Human brain, guys, I'm also saying, please check on videos within our channel. Check channel videos. There is a very thorough lecture, a very thorough presentation that is representing the human brain. So now what is given here is the human brain. I always say that before you do anything, it is always recommendable that you label the structure of the human brain, which we said that from there we also have what is called the largest part of the human brain, which is the cerebrum. And then we say also we have the cerebellum, which we are just coming from doing. We have got the corpus callosum. We said it divides the brain into two hemispheres. And then we actually have our what? Our medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. These are always given. These are always given. We have got the white matter and the gray matter here anyway. We are not going to talk about that. We have got also, the question does not talk about it anyway. We have got the what? The pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is also given there, but we are saying these are not asked. We want to see. But I said, in any case, when you are given questions, when you are answering these questions, in the few minutes of checking your question paper, you can also be able to just label these while you are still away, so then you are not going to make mistakes. So it's saying give the letters and name of the party that controls the following. So here I am always keeping and reminding you that the letter and name, so it means we have got two answers. You are supposed to give the letter to say D, and then you say medulla oblongata, and to say C, cerebellum. So there are two answers which you need to take note of. So which letter and name part, give the name, the letter and the name of the part that controls the following, communicate between the two hemispheres of the brain. We say that it is the what? The two hemispheres of the brain communicates through the corpus callosum. So you shall see that the answer is what? It is B. We are saying B, corpus callosum. It is the one that does that. And then voluntary actions. We are saying voluntary actions. You need to always know that the voluntary actions in the brain are always controlled by what? By the cerebrum. So you need to look at which part of the brain, I mean, which part represents the cerebrum, as we have labeled already. I'm saying you are just looking for the letter that we have got the cerebrum, which is given there. So it is what? It is letter A, and then cerebrum, and then breathing is always controlled by medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata, remember when we're talking about the balancing of carbon dioxide, so breathing is controlled by the medulla oblongata. Obviously we have labeled it. What you just need to do is to find the letter that represents the medulla oblongata. So we are saying the breathing is controlled, is regulated by letter, it is letter D. It is letter D. And we say that it's medulla oblongata, letter D, medulla oblongata. That's it. And then give two structures that protect the brain. Structures. We are saying structures that protect the human brain. Protection of human brain, I've been always saying, as we go to exams class, it is very recommendable that you don't go to exam without looking and without revising that one. You should always know that there is always question that comes within this in terms of what? In terms of the protection of human brain. So human brain is protected by, we have got one, it is protected by the cranium, which we actually have, we talk about the skull, the skull bones. We are saying they protect the brain by giving, they actually protect the brain physical impact or physical mechanical forces. They are actually not going to disturb and hit the brain to a certain extent depending with the impact. Therefore we can talk about the cranium, or we can talk about the skull bones. And then we need also to understand that we have got the membranes, which are called the meninges. The meninges, we say that these also, we have got they are layered membranes that actually protect the brain, which we say them we have got the innermost, which has got a supply and network of blood vessels that actually supports the survival of the brain. So the meninges is one. And then we also maybe want to talk about other protection also comes from it. Also we can also talk about the cerebrospinal fluid. cerebral spinal Cerebrospinal fluid, which is always given as CSF. Cerebrospinal fluid, We talked about that to say that it has got a very good protective mechanism which actually releases the pressure. It actually ensures that there is always the lubrication of whatsoever and all those. So what we are saying, the cerebral spinal fluid, the meninges, the cranium are there to protect the human brain. And then we have got the diagram that shows the process of the formation of an ovum. So we are talking about formation of ovum. So what are we looking at? We are talking about female gametogenesis. We are looking at gametogenesis, genesis. But remember, we said that there is what? There is male, and then we have got female. So if you are talking about male, we say it is called what? Spermatogenesis. And then if it is female, it is what? Oogenesis. So now we are saying the moment we look at this, we are supposed to be able to understand and relate very well. So therefore, we won't be making mistakes. So always understand that meiosis is the process that is responsible for gamete formation. Meiosis is therefore the major process that is responsible for that process of gamete formation. So now, the question is saying, we are looking at the gamete, we are looking at the process of cell division that is shown there, which results in the formation of the ovum. And then we have got the haploid polar bodies disintegrating that are shown there. And then at the end of the day, we are saying they are what they are dying. And then we have got one, which is there is fertilization taking place, where we can see there is the fusion is occurring. When fusion is occurring, what do we see? We are seeing the sperm and the egg cell, the egg and the sperm cell, they are fusing together. So therefore, we see fertilization taking place. So now, what we need to understand is name the type of name the type of meiotic cell division shown in the diagram above. So I say that the type of meiotic cell division that is shown, I said that this is, we need to be specific, is gametogenesis, but which one specifically? It is the formation of the ovum. So we are saying this is what it is, oogenesis. Reason is what I've said, that it is resulting in the formation, it is female egg formation. So we shall know, we should be able to specify that. Identify. Okay. Name the type of cell division. I'm writing it. Let me just correct something first. We are saying the type of cell division taking place. We are saying it's oogenesis, which is supposed to be first question 1.6.1. Identify cell division at A. Identify cell division at A. At A, I already maybe have mentioned something. We have got our diploid cell, our 2N. And then we are saying what happens there. What happens is we are seeing the formation of the primary oxide. So now what happens is that what is processed at what at A? This is meiosis 1. That is meiosis 1. Meiosis 1 is taking place. We are having meiosis 1. Meiosis 1, the chromosome number of cell B, the chromosome number of cell B. You know, Musa, that when we are in human reproduction, when we are looking at this, the chromosome number, what happens is that we should be able to understand that the total number of cells that are in a what in a human cell before cell division and then after cell division, what happens there? How many chromosomes must be there? So we should understand that this is any number of cells. This is a haploid cell. this is a haploid cell. So our haploid cell is always supposed to be known that it has got what? 23 chromosomes. It has got 23 chromosomes, which are normal when when we are talking about everything being normal. So what we are saying is that what we need to understand is that uh, the chromosome number of cell B is actually the secondary oxide in humans, which is 23 chromosomes. Is 23. I said that it is N, or I said that also you can say it is haploid, but the question does not want you to say this. It says the number. The number, it's supposed to be saying the number, which is 23. It is 23. That's what you need to understand there. And then question C, the process at C. The process at C, I have already mentioned something before, that we can see the fusion, fertilization is taking place. So fertilization is the process at C. Fertilization is the process that is taking place at C, because we are seeing the male and the female egg cells joining together. The male and the female egg cell, they are fusing, they are fertilizing. So their nucleus are fertilizing. And then sometimes you should also know that the number of chromosomes after fertilization should be 46 when we are talking about what? When we are talking about a normal uh, egg cell, or a normal gametes fertilizing each other, they should be 46. So that is about question, that is about section A. So section A, that is what it is. And then we go to section B. We are given menstrual irregularities post-tubal litigation. After tubal litigation, there are menstrual irregularities that takes place. So we want to look at that, and then we are to understand some investigations that are supposed to, that might need to be understood here. Tubal litigation is an irreversible method of control of birth. We say that it is called what? It is called a feminine a contraceptive method. It is called feminine planning method, in which fallopian tubes or a portion is cut or tied, clipped or removed. Tubal litigation may lead to menstrual irregularities, interference of blood supply to the ovaries, which at the end interferes with the functioning of the ovaries. So the blood supply of ovaries gets disturbed, follicles are incapable of growing properly, and the corpus luteum growth gets affected too. Women who underwent tubal litigation also have higher levels of follicle stimulating hormone. They've got higher levels of follicle stimulating hormone. Uh, an investigation was conducted to determine the frequency of menstrual irregularities after tubal litigation in women. So now we are saying an investigation was conducted. So in this case, I want to put NB here. When you are doing questions such as these ones, you need also to understand that questions would arise where you need to identify the dependent and independent variable. So we are to determine the frequency. We are saying the frequency of menstrual irregularities after tubal litigation in women. So now we need to understand sometimes that whenever you are given an investigation, you are given a research question, your dependent and independent variables are derived from where you find an investigation, from where we talk about an investigation which was conducted to determine what on what. So we are saying something is influencing something. So we need to understand that that is where we define the dependent and independent variable. So menstrual irregularity occurs when the menstrual cycle gap of a female is less than 21 days or more than 35 days. The normal menstrual cycle of a female is between 21 to 35 days. The procedure was as follows. two groups of 63 participants aged 32 and 42 were selected. We are saying two groups, the size 63 participants. One of the groups consisted of females who had tubal litigation. We had got tubal litigation, and the other second group consisted of female who did not undergo tubal litigation. So we are supposed to understand that when we are doing this, there is always called an experiment and also the control of the investigation. The control of the investigation is always unmanipulated. That's one thing that you need to know when you are doing these questions. Where we are manipulating or we are changing something, that one is called an experiment. The one that has got no conditions altered, we call that and it is set for what? For control of investigation, for the determination or comparisons of results in order to make sure that the experiment is affected to what extent. So laboratory examinations were done on all the females to check any damage which happened to the ovary, counted the number of days in the menstrual cycle of each female, conducted the investigation from 1st January 2019 to 30th June 2020, excluded female having menstrual irregularities due to organic disorders such as ovarian cancer, endometrial cancer before tubal litigation. So these were what they were uh, excluded because there is some or they have some problems which would also affect the investigation. Results of the investigations were recorded in the table below. The number of female who had tubal litigation and the number of female who did not undergo the litigation. So less than 21 days, we have got 30, and there we have 0. More than 35 days, we have got 33 on the number of female who did not undergo 0. And then between 21 and 35 days, we have got number of female who had litigation, we have got 0, and here we've got 63. So that's those are the results which we are given of the expense of the investigation. So identify the independent variable. Identify the independent variable. Like I was saying, I said that the independent variable, I said you derive it from what? From the experiment where they say an investigation was conducted to determine the frequency of menstrual irregularities after uh, tubal litigation in women. So now we are saying the independent variable is we are saying the independent variable is the number of women who underwent tubal litigation or not. Women who undergo or who underwent, we are saying women who under women who underwent tubal litigation or not. Women who underwent tubal litigation or not, we are saying our independent variable, and then state two ways in which the scientists ensured the reliability of their results. Two ways through which the scientists ensured the reliability of the results. I'm sure that this we can get it also from the setup of the investigation, which we are saying that I was marking there. One, we're saying they used a large sample size of women, which they say the sample size, uh, it shows that one of the reliability of the results uh, is that use of large sample size. Large sample size 63, or we talked about 63 63 women in each, 63 women were used in each of the samples. So we are saying that is a large sample size. 63 women, each group. The 63 women in each group actually help to cover that. And then we also have from the experiment that the reliability was also increased by we have got two groups of women. One that was tubal litigation, the other group consisted of women who did not undergo litigation. So now we are saying the reliability of the results was also improved by the availability of a control of the investigation. Availability of a control of the investigation, which we are saying that availability of the control, which is given because of the women who did not do the litigation. It said that a control group was set up. A control group. We are saying control group class. Control group of the women who did not go under litigation is also one other answer that we need to understand. And then we can also talk about other conditions which might talk about the increase. We can talk about the repetition of the investigation and also considering the putting of the participants in one within the same or similar conditions. It can also be correct. Why is it important to include 63 women who did not undergo tubal litigation in the investigation? Why was it important to include women who did not undergo tubal litigation? I already told you that when we have got an investigation where we say the other group is not manipulated, these women who did not undergo tubal litigation is because we are saying it was actually given in order to provide to act as a control. So it actually to act as a control for comparison. Act as a control for comparison of results. For comparison of results. So investigation scientists or investigate the scientists must be able to compare the results. They must be able to compare the results. So the ability to compare the results is proficient because we are having one group that is manipulated and another group that is not. So that is the reason of the ones who did not undergo litigation. And then question next is saying, explain why female with menstrual irregularities due to organic disorders were excluded from the investigation. I had already also mentioned that these were also excluded because we are saying their follicle stimulating hormone levels would already been abnormal, which can also interfere with the accuracy of the results. To avoid interference, with the results, to avoid interference with the results due to we are saying due to abnormal levels of what follicle stimulating hormone, due to abnormal levels of follicle stimulating hormone. We are saying it is gonna because of avoiding of follicle stimulating hormone. So therefore, their follicle stimulating hormone has already been abnormal. So in order to ensure that the results are correct, the scientists had already avoided including the what the women who have got organic disorders. 2.15 describe how women who underwent tubal litigation also have a higher level of this. Describe how they how they undergo, by how do they go, uh, how do also have higher levels of follicle stimulating hormone. So one, we are saying these women, we are saying uh, it is one, the tubal litigation interrupts the normal function of the ovaries or affects the hormonal regulation. Litigation litigation affects litigation. It actually affects litigation. It actually affects a normal hormone. Normal. It affects the normal hormonal regulation. It is one of the reasons it is given there that the litigation might also cause the hormones to be abnormal. So hormonal regulation can be affected. And then we also have also there is also a problem to do with the effects on number two. Remember that this hormonal control is actually regulated through what? Through negative feedback. So one other reason also is that it also reduces negative feedback from the ovarian hormones. Reduces, it also reduces negative, it also reduces negative feedback. It also reduces negative feedback, which is a problem again with regard to this. When negative feedback is reduced, we talk about, for example, the negative feedback from the ovarian hormones, like, for example, the estrogen and progesterone hormones, which must be released in order, or which must be there to maintain pregnancy, which must be there to stop the further secretion of follicle stimulating hormones. So therefore, what happens is that the litigation has affected the hormonal control, retarding or disrupting the negative feedback mechanism. And then finally, we can also talk about the pituitary gland may also be always be stimulated to produce. The pituitary gland might always be stimulated to produce more of the follicle stimulating hormone. You understand? And then let's go to question 2.16. It's a conclusion saying, state a conclusion for this investigation. State a conclusion to this investigation. So if you can look at this, we are saying, having seen this, what conclusion can we draw from this investigation? What conclusion can we draw from this investigation? If you can look on the results there, the results can actually show us that the results that we are looking at, considering even the first question 2.15, state a conclusion. When people undergo they underwent tubal litigation, there is an abnormal secretion of certain hormones. So what happens is that a conclusion that we can draw in this case can actually also be drawn based on the results of the investigation that we are seeing here. The results of the investigation that we are seeing, to say that the results of the investigation can actually also be there to say that there we can see that we have got the number of female who have got this condition, and then we also want to understand that there is a number of women who have got the condition and this. So tubal litigation will affect hormonal control. That's what we can also say in this case. Tubal litigation also affects tubal litigation. Tubal litigation may affect hormonal control, or it can cause more of follicle stimulating hormone, according even from the leads that are in the questions there. Women who underwent tubal litigation also have higher levels of what? Women who underwent tubal litigation, they also have higher levels of what? Of follicle stimulating hormone. So when we look at that, we can say that tubal litigation, tubal litigation causes higher follicle stimulating hormone secretion. It causes secretion of higher follicle stimulating hormone. Higher follicle stimulating hormone, it causes an abnormal secretion of follicle stimulating hormone, which is true according to our situation there. So we have got the diagram which shows the structure of the sperm cell. The structure of the sperm cell also, it is available on channel, which it is analyzed. Please also check the video there, the middle piece, the tail, the head, acrosome, and the nucleus. So we are saying all those are also there. We are also having a detailed we have got also a detailed uh, presentation. We are saying we have got a detailed presentation. So now these are also supposed to be known, and the adaptation of the sperm cell to perform its function. You will find questions that would arise there. So give the letter corresponding to the part that contains enzymes responsible for digesting the outer layer of the ovum, enabling its penetration. So we are saying promoting fertilization. Which part of the sperm cell supports fertilization? It is the what? The acrosome. So the question say give the letter of the party, give the letter corresponding. We are saying the question wants us to give the letter. It is A, which I say that give the letter. It is A, the acrosome. Acrosome is A, that is responsible for digesting or facilitation of fertilization. Name the party of the sperm cell that carries hereditary characteristics. Hereditary characteristics are carried in the nucleus. Name the part. It is the nucleus. We can say B, which is the what? The nucleus. Nucleus is responsible for what? It is the nucleus, which I'm saying the question wants you to name the part. Don't give the letter. Name the part. It is the nucleus. Nucleus is the right answer, not to say the letter. I'm just giving to say it is B, but the answer must be nucleus. Explain how part C is adopted to perform its function. Part C, which we are saying, part C is the mitochondria. What is it? What does it do? Mitochondria, we are saying it actually provides the energy for the locomotion of the sperm cell. It has got, we are saying mitochondria, it has mitochondria, which we are saying it is actually the middle piece, which contains mitochondria that produces it produces energy, much needed energy for the movement of the sperm cell. The sperm can move because of it actually allows the movement of the sperm cell, which we are saying in order to reach the ovule. It actually contains, it has the mitochondria, which actually promotes the movement of the sperm cell or the locomotion. The diagram below represents different stages of follicle, different stages. It actually identify follicle developmental stages, and the graph represents ovarian hormones levels during the menstrual cycle over 28 days. I'm sure that I shared you last time on the channel regarding the reproduction questions in paper 1. I gave you the breakdown of these chapters, so therefore you won't be making mistakes. So you need to know the composition, the weighting of these questions, such that when we get there, we are not gonna make mistakes. You understand? We are not gonna do mistakes. So what happens here is that we need to look at this, and then it is saying we have got the follicle stimulating hormone again. We have got the follicle development, and then we have got the process which can also take place that we can say it is ovulation. Why do we say that? There is the release, there is a release of a mature egg here. An egg is released. Egg released there, so we can say that ovulation, and then we have got our what? Our corpus luteum being formed, and then we can continue. We have got our hormones, hormonal control, which is showing the fluctuation of various hormones, the estrogen, progesterone hormones levels. I don't know. So let's go to the question saying the follicle development, and the graphs represents the ovarian hormones levels during the menstrual cycle. During the menstrual cycle, so over 28 days. So identify gland A, identify gland A, our gland A, identify gland A, which is gland A, which is producing the follicle stimulating hormone. I said again in the beginning that pituitary gland is the one that releases these follicle stimulating hormones and what. So it is the pituitary gland. It is the pituitary gland. It is the pituitary gland. It is hormone, is the gland A. Process B. Process B, I said that we can see that is ovulation, which is shown. We are seeing follicles are maturing from this stage. We are seeing the maturation of follicles. Maturation of follicles there. We are seeing follicle development. We are seeing follicle development, and then at B, we are seeing the release of the mature egg. So B is what? It's ovulation. B is ovulation. I said the release of the mature egg from the ovaries is what we call ovulation. And then what else? What else? What else? Hormone C. Hormone C. Hormone C. We are seeing that it has been low. We are seeing hormone C. It has been low. This is hormone C, which we are seeing the fluctuation or the changes that it is going through. So which hormone do we see which is always low, and then we are saying it is before ovulation here, before ovulation it is less, and then after ovulation it increases. We are saying increases, the hormone C increases after ovulation. It increases after ovulation. So now, which hormone is C? C must be because we are saying it must be a hormone that is lower before, when the follicles are lower, and then after ovulation it increases. So we are saying that it must be progesterone. It must be progesterone hormone. Progesterone. We are saying that it rises after ovulation because of the activity of the corpus luteum, which you are seeing there. The corpus luteum increases after ovulation. We are saying due to the activities of corpus luteum. I'm sure now, grade 12, you know very well that corpus luteum, the membrane that remains after the release of the mature egg, is the one that secretes. It is responsible for the secretion, for the production of what? Of progesterone. So I'm sure that you must be able to say and understand. So hormone C, it is progesterone level that increases after what? That increases after it must be hormone. You must be able to know that it is progesterone, because we say that it increases after what? After ovulation. What evidence? 2.32, 2.32. What evidence in the graph suggests that a Graafian follicle developed? A Graafian follicle developed. What shows? What evidence can be on the graph that shows that a Graafian follicle developed? What evidence from the graph suggests that a Graafian follicle developed? So we are saying that the evidence that is there is that we are seeing an increase in oestrogen levels. Oestrogen, it is produced as a result of maturation. Oestrogen is secreted as a result of maturation of what? Of follicles. When follicles mature, we are saying we also see that what evidence suggests that Graafian follicle developed. Also, even we can see the release of the mature egg also, that we can see there. So what we are saying is that oestrogen levels rises. That one other point that we can see there, the rise of oestrogen. We are saying the rise of the oestrogen, the rising of oestrogen hormone. We are saying the rising of the oestrogen hormone. It can be one reason which we can give the rising of oestrogen hormone. Also, we can also possibly have a reason that I can say that we are seeing also the release of a mature egg. Mature egg, the release of the mature egg, which we say ovulation. Presence of ovulation can also show that there is Graafian follicle developed there. There was development of Graafian follicle. So we are saying the presence of ovulation, the sharp rising of oestrogen hormone, which actually shows that before day 14, it actually shows that there is, before day 14, we have got a sharp rise in oestrogen level. That actually shows that there was follicles developing. And then question 2.3.3 give two observable reasons in the diagram that fertilization did not occur. What shows that fertilization did not occur? What we can see is that I always tell my guys and students in class that in terms of this hormonal control, what evidence shows that there is no ovulation, I mean, fertilization did not occur. We see a decrease in the progesterone level, which indicates that there is no maintenance of what, which actually shows that from day 21 to 28, we are seeing, or certain days around 21 to 28, we are seeing a decrease in progesterone level, and also there is no sustenance of endometrium. Endometrium is not maintained. One, uh, the decrease in progesterone levels. A decrease in progesterone levels, it shows that there is no pregnancy, and also uh, we are seeing we are saying we also have uh, no sustenance or maintenance, no maintenance of endometrium. If endometrium is not sustained, is not maintained, it might also indicate that we have got no pregnancy, I mean no fertilization. We have got no hormonal levels that are there, which supposed to increase to show the maintenance of what, of endometrium. So in that regard, we should be able to understand that. Please just take note of that. 2.4, the cryptorchidism is a medical condition where one or both of the male testes have not descended. They did not go down into their proper position in the scrotum before birth. So in many cases, the undescended testes moves into the proper position within the first few months of life. If undescended testes does not correct itself, surgery can relocate the testes into the scrotum. So this is a condition that we need to look at. It's a condition that we need to look at. So we are given this diagram that represents an adult male who has the condition. So we have got undescended, meaning to say they are inside undescended testes, and then we have got descended testes. Then we see our scrotum, which is also shown there. Our scrotum, and then we have got the penis, we have got the sperm duct, which are given there. I said that you always have to, you always need to know that when questions such as these they are given, you'd label these questions, they label them as quick as possible, so then you cannot be able to make mistakes. So question C, we can say it is the epididymis. The epididymis. So the question is saying, let's find the questions. Identify part A. Identify part A. Part A, part A, part A. Part A can be this, we can say part A, it is actually given there. This can be part A, we can say is the sperm duct, which is actually given there to say that A is the sperm duct. A can be the sperm duct. A can be the sperm duct. And then B, it is the penis. B is the penis. B is the penis. Give one function of part C. Part C, it actually, part C, give one function of part C. Part C, I said that is the epididymis. It actually is there to, it is there to store this, it actually stores storage of, it allows maturation of spermatozoa. It actually stores sperms. It actually stores sperm cells. That is the function of part C. It actually stores sperm cells. And then from the paragraph, how can it be corrected? 2.43, it can be corrected by what? It can be corrected by surgery. It is given that when we read that they don't go down on their own and set the proper position if you not itself, surgery can be can relocate the testes. So we are saying what is the how can they be corrected? It is through surgery. This one you are just getting the answer from the what? From the passage. It is through surgery. And then the next question is saying, explain how will influence fertility if not corrected. If not corrected, how does it influence? It actually, it means the testicles remains in the what? Testicles will remain, they will remain in the abdominal cavity, remain in abdominal cavity. They will remain in abdominal cavity. They will remain in abdominal cavity, which actually where we are saying where temperature is generally is higher than normal, is higher than in the scrotum, is higher than it should be, is higher than it should be in the scrotum. So now what happens is that it's therefore the high temperatures negatively affect the maturation and development of spermatozoa. High temperatures will negatively it negatively reduces the maturation and development. It reduces the maturation and development of sperm cells. It reduces the maturation and development of sperm cells, which at the end of the day will reduce, resulting in infertility. In infertility, resulting in infertility, which we can also actually it can be reduced, or infertility, which reduces the chances of what? Of having children. You understand? A person might have also problem of what? Of having babies. So that is what you should understand with respect to that one. So that is what we should understand. So we are also coming back to fertilization again. It is also fertilization that we need to look at. We are also still on fertilization in what? We are given reproduction in crocodiles. Reproduction in crocodiles lay hard-shelled eggs. A female crocodile lays eggs around 12 to 48 eggs. The eggs are deposited into the soil, and the sun's heat and the heat from the natural decomposition of vegetation maintains warm temperature that aids the embryo's development. Until hatching, the female remains close to the nest to protect the egg from predators. So the egg is laid and it hatches outside the mother's body. That is what is given in this regard. After 3 months, the young are fully developed. While still in the egg, the young may utter squeaks, perhaps signaling that they are ready to emerge. The young crocodiles are born with their eyes open and immediately mobile. The female remains. Their eyes are open and very able to move. The female remains close to her offspring and protect them from predators for several weeks to months. That's the context that we are given here. So after this, state the type of fertilization. State the type of fertilization that occurs in crocodiles. State the type of fertilization that occurs in crocodiles. All crocodiles lay hard-shelled eggs. Female lay eggs. The female lays an average of 48 eggs. So what happens is that we are saying when the female lays the eggs, it means reproduction is taking place inside. So we have got what is called what? Internal fertilization. Internal fertilization is occurring because fertilization is taking place inside the female's body. Internal fertilization is occurring. And then state one way in which this type of fertilization increases reproductive success. How does it increases this type of fertilization? How does it increase reproduction success? We are saying it has to the sperm are deposited directly into the female, which increases the chance of fertilization. High chances of fertilization. There is higher chances of fertilization. There are higher chances of fertilization that takes place because sperm cells are deposited inside the what? Inside the female's body. There are higher chances of fertilization because the sperm cells are directly deposited inside the female's body. And then we are saying lower chances of eggs drying out. Eggs cannot dry out because they are inside the female's body. So there is no drying out of eggs. Drying eggs, chance of drying out, and then also the eggs are not destroyed by external environmental conditions. At the same time, we have got also reduced predation on the eggs, reduced chances of predation on eggs. There are lower chances of predation those organisms that might feed on the eggs cannot do that because the eggs are inside the mother's body. So we have got reproductive success that is very high there. And then question next is saying, name the reproductive strategy in crocodiles which relates to this development. We are saying they lay hard-shelled eggs. They lay hard-shelled eggs, so we say that the eggs are maturing outside the mother's body. So that is called what? Which we say that is called the ovipary. It's called ovipary. Ovipary reproductive stage. Ovipary because egg they laying eggs with hard-shelled, we are saying they lay hard-shelled eggs. All crocodiles lay hard-shelled eggs. Hard-shelled eggs are laid by all crocodiles. So we are saying that is the hard-shelled eggs represent the ovipar. It represents what they are ovipar. This I've explained also in the first question that we started with. And then the next question is saying, give two characteristics from the paragraph indicating that crocodiles are precocial. We are saying precocial, they are able to move after birth, which we talked about that to say the young are born with their eyes open. The young are born with their eyes open. The young are born with their eyes open. The young are born with their eyes open and immediately are mobile. So those are the answers that can give us what we are looking for. We are saying what we are looking for is actually given that these young ones the young ones are able to move after birth. They are born with eyes open. They are born with eyes open, and then also they are able to move. They are able to move immediately after hatching. Are able to move immediately after hatching. If otherwise we were going to keep on answering adding many of them, we say that they are able to take care of themselves. They are fully clothed. They have got feathers that they keep themselves warm. They can feed themselves and all those. We are saying, but in terms of the context that we are given here, is that they are able to move and their eyes are open in order for them to see and protect themselves. So we can go to question 2.6. Question 2.6 class. I want you to understand again that these questions, like I said, that you must always be able to what? You must always be able to relate very well. You must always be able to relate to these questions with no doubt, with no fear. So the diagram below shows different responses during fight and flight responses. It shows different responses. We are saying it shows responses, fight and flight response, fight and flight responses. So in human. So one thing that I want us to understand is that this is to do with a hormone that we need to identify and be able to relate very well. So now, identify gland A, identify gland A, identify gland A. As you can see, we are saying it is found on the kidney that produces the fight and flight hormone which hormone is that, which gland is that. We must understand that this is adrenal gland. It is adrenal gland A, it is adrenal gland, and then it is adrenal gland because you know that it is actually situated on top of the kidney, and then it is on top of the kidney that represents adrenal gland, and then hormone B, which is produced from the adrenal gland, and then we are saying it causes heartbeat to increase, blood flow to the intestines is restricted, and also if effect C on the eyes. So what is that? We are saying what is hormone? Identify hormone B. I'm sure we know very well that the adrenal gland produces which hormone, which is responsible, is called what? Adrenaline. It is adrenaline hormone. It's adrenaline hormone. And then C, effect C, effect C, we are saying effect C on the eyes when a person is under fight and flight. On the eyes, what happens? It actually has to do with the opening of the eyes during emergency situation. When a person is frightened, what happens on the eye? What we need to understand is that during the fight and flight response, it is the dilatation of the pupil. We have got the dilatation of the pupil. When a person is frightened, when a person is under emergency, the pupil dilates. It actually wide opens for light to enter in order for the person to be able to see properly. So we are saying is dilatation of the pupil. And then next question is saying explain the effect of higher levels of hormone B on the heartbeat. Higher levels of hormone B on the heartbeat. It actually the effect on the heartbeat, it actually during the fight and flight responses, the impact actually is actually increasing both the heart rate. It increases the heart rate. It actually increases the heart rate. It increases the heart rate, which we are saying that it actually the heart rate. What happens is that we need to understand that it binds the specific what we call receptors, which we say the beta cells or the beta receptors, which also affect the heart rate there, increases the heart rate, and then one other thing that we need to maybe look at is that it also increases the force of contraction, increased force. It has got the increased force of contraction, increased force of contraction, which increases the muscle causing more blood being pumped out of the causing more blood being pumped too fast. It causes more blood to be pumped fast. Being pumped fast to the skeletal muscles. Remember that we said that there is increased heart rate, so therefore it actually causes more blood to be pumped out to increase the cardiac output fast, so as to increase the cardiac output. You understand? So these are some of the things that we need to take note of. These are some of the things that we need to understand in simple terms. You need to understand that more oxygenated blood is being supplied to is being delivered to the muscles, to the brain, and also to the brain, so as to prepare the body for a physical demand of fight and flight responses. So we are saying it actually overall impact is increased circulation of oxygenated blood, increased circulation of oxygenated blood uh, for physical demands of fight and flight response, for preparation of physical demand of the fight and flight response, of the fight and flight response. So those are the things, my class. These are the things that we need to take note of. And then we have got question 3.6. Let's just quickly go to this one, and then the diagram represents the human ear. It's a human ear that is shown there. The diagram represents the human ear, which we should just quickly look at. Quickly. Let me just see the next questions that are there. The human ear. So basically, this one again, class, you can refer to the channel. It has been well answered also on our channel, The Human Ear. We have identified all these. It's a repetition of a question that we answered also on our channel there, which has been well explained again and analyzed, that we cannot be otherwise redoing it again here, because the way it is being asked is exactly how it was done it's exactly how it was done on the previous presentation. So the human ear, it has been done actually well done on also check on previous check on previous presentation. I think previous presentations, it is well answered there. Previous presentations, they do answer that very well also. So please check on that, check on that, check on that, check on that, check on it, check on it. The human ear, it has been answered on previous questions. It has been severally done. The human eye, The human eye also, human eye, we have also answered it quite a lot. We have answered quite a lot of on human eye. Also refer to the channel. Refer to channel also. It is also presented on the channel already. Human eye, the questions are just the same. We talk about the problems to do with astigmatism. We talk about the problems to do with cataracts. We talk about every other eye defects there. So these questions, I'm just saying for the interest of time also, we need to be able to just understand and appreciate that they were also answered and done on what on the previous presentations. But I just want to show some one or two questions which also have not been captured well in this presentation. I'm just checking the original paper first. So we have got questions that has to do with the plant growth hormones. The plant growth hormones classing. It was also one of the questions that is there, which talks about the plant the different plant growth hormones, which I asked, which I've been I already also presented to you about apical dominance. It is also answered on the previous presentation. Apical dominance, which hormone is responsible for apical dominance? We said again that it's auxin, and then the economic benefits of pruning trees. Why should trees be pruned? What are the advantages or the economic benefits for farmers to prune or managing? What is the economic advantages of pruning trees? Uh, we talk about increase in fruit production. It improves the pruning of trees. Also, removing apical bud produces oxygen that inhibits the lateral what? The lateral buds. I have answered on that one. We also talk about the improvement in quality of fruit size, easier in harvesting management. Also, maintenance of the size, maintaining the required size. We are saying maintaining or having the desired size and shape, making harvesting easier, and also making the tree being at a lower level, and better air circulation that reduces incidence of fungal diseases that might also affect and cause pests that can also affect our what our fruit production. So those are some of the questions that you need to look at. And then which plant growth hormone promote plant growth? Plant growth is promoted by what? By gibberellins. Gibberellins actually promote plant growth. You need to understand that plant growth. How would the levels of abscisic acid influence the levels of gibberellins? You need to understand that high abscisic acid levels would inhibit the production of gibberellins. How would the question says how would the high abscisic levels influence the levels of gibberellins? So if abscisic levels are high, how does it affect the levels of gibberellins? We are saying high abscisic acids, ne, or high abscisic acid, it would inhibit the production of gibberellins, leading to lower levels of what of that gibberellins that we are talking about. And then we are supposed to understand that this is to do with plant growth hormones. It is also on the other video that I've already submitted on, I've already posted to you there. It is there. And then question 3.1, explain why starch must be broken down to glucose during the germination process. When seeds are germinating, why is it important to break down glucose, glucose Why is starch broken down to glucose during seed germination? Actually, to provide the necessary energy and building blocks for the growing seedlings. The growing seedlings need energy. We are saying they need energy, and also they need the building blocks that would sustain their growth. You understand? Uh, there is question 3.21. Identify the person with diabetes mellitus. It's a graphical question. On this up there, it is just not well presented. So we are saying, how do you identify a person with diabetes mellitus? The person's blood glucose levels, it remains significantly high for you to know that a person has got diabetes mellitus. So please just take note of that, to say when a person has got diabetes mellitus, we are saying give reason for identifying a person with diabetes mellitus. It means that the person's blood glucose levels will remain significantly high for a longer duration after eating glucose solution, compared to a person compared to another person, where we are talking about falling or returning to normal in terms of within short period of time. That is showing a healthy person. When a person is healthy, the blood glucose level returns to what, to normal very quickly. And then it can also, we can as well know that a person has got problem of diabetes because of much high peak blood glucose levels after intake of glucose, compared to one person, which is showing an impaired ability of regulation of blood glucose level effectively. That is a characteristic that identifies that a person has got diabetes mellitus. Those are the things that we need to understand. So there is a question also which you need to look at: negative feedback mechanism for high blood, for blood glucose, I mean for blood carbon dioxide levels. Negative feedback levels, or negative feedback mechanism for high blood glucose, high blood carbon dioxide levels. When carbon dioxide level increases above normal, we say that it decreases the pH of what, of the body, which results in acidity. And then there is also chemoreceptors that are located in the medulla oblongata, which actually are responsible for detecting that. And then they are able to identify the changes in blood glucose level, giving a signal to the respiratory center, which actually sends impulses to the medulla oblongata in order to counter affect or counter change that. So the respiratory center actually would respond by increasing the rate and depth of breathing, which we talk about hyperventilation. Actually, in that case, it actually stimulates the intercostal muscles and the diaphragm to contract more frequently and forcefully. Therefore, at the end of the day, we have got an excretion of carbon dioxide, and there is a return to normal, which we say that it has been, the carbon dioxide is exhaled. The carbon dioxide is exhaled. More carbon dioxide is exhaled, and then the blood, we have got low blood pH, and it returns to normal through the negative feedback loop. There is also question 3.41, which needs you to identify a reflex arc. Name the pathway represented in the diagram above. Uh, it needs you to identify the reflex arc, and then you identify that in the reflex arc we have got part B, which normally represents, are actually, it is the sensory neuron, which is transmitting impulses from the receptor towards the central nervous system, that is the spinal cord. And then there's part A, which is also given there. It is a receptor organ, which actually is important to detect the stimulus, which can be heat, it can be pressure, it can be pain, and converting it into an impulse. There is a question which also talks about what is the significance of reflex actions. Significance of reflex action basically is also answered, that one on the channel, which we are saying that it provides a rapid, automatic, and involuntary response to a stimulus, which is primarily done to protect against potential harm and to maintain a homeostasis by regulating the bodily functions without a conscious thought. Those are some of the questions that we need to understand. And then there is a question also: explain the effect on the reflex action if the Maryland sheath if the Maryland sheath is damaged. So we are saying if the Maryland sheath of a neuron is damaged, what is the importance or what is the effect of that when a Maryland sheath of a neuron is damaged? It actually shows that it actually shows that what happens that the Maryland sheath, you know, that it insulates the oxygen of a neuron and then allowing the fast movement of conduction of impulses, of nerve impulses from one node of run via to the next. So now when it is damaged, it means therefore that the insulation around the nerve fiber is compromised. That is leading to a lower or disrupted transmission of nerve impulses. There's question 3.5 class. Describe the autonomic nervous system. Describe autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system class is a component of a peripheral nervous system that regulates involuntary physiological processes, such as we can talk about blood pressure, digestion, sexual arousal, respiration, among other factors. Actually, it actually operates without conscious thought and is essential for maintaining some maintaining internal body balances or maintaining homeostasis. So the autonomic nervous system primarily is divided into two main parts: the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for fight and flight responses, basically increasing activities during stress, and also the parasympathetic nervous system that is responsible for rest and digest, processes, actually promoting relaxation and digestion, which is generally an antagonistic or acting opposite process to maintain also homeostasis. So it also includes the central it also includes the central nervous system, which independently regulates also digestive processes, that we should also be understanding those. So I said the questions about the ear and the eye, we have done them severally, therefore we cannot keep on repeating them. We cannot keep on repeating that. Is there on the channel. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm sure that you're gonna get help. I'm saying we're gonna get help, and we are going to do best. Thank you so much for your time, and don't forget that we are still revising, we are still pushing, and anyway, you must get all the best marks in this. I told you that this is scope. This is scope, scope and and revision, and also for mid-year, I mean for preparatory and final examinations. Let's meet again in the next presentation, and thank you very much for your time.